Hello, konnichiwa. It's part of my life because my father sent me to Japan when I was 17 years old for a youth exchange program, and it was a life-changing experience for me. I had to live with families in their house and had to learn some Japanese, and at that age it was a good thing because it helped me to form some culture in my life and become, I don't know, familiar with something different from Canada where I was raised. So it was really good. And still, I come back here now 15 times or so. Come here every year since, so very good. I've always loved YMO. I mean, that was the first inspiration for me. So eventually, I got to work with some people from that family, and then got to meet Takahashi, and that was my huge inspiration in life. And then later, now the modern electronic music helped several bands to become signed to U.S. record label from Japan. One guy is playing here tonight with us, Yutaro Triple Z Triple A from Osaka. Probably the most hardcore electronic musician I've heard in many years. I like many styles of music, and that's I never have just liked one style. Like one day I want to listen to Sun Ra, and the next day I want to listen to dub reggae. The next minute I want to listen to some old disco. I like music all over the map. I mean, even the disco era inspired me. Even Donna Summer, I Feel Love. I can listen to that all day long. But one of my favorite styles of music right now is Japanese electropunk.
Yeah, cool.
Hardcore. Originally, I was a drummer, and I played keyboards because my dad had an organ with a drum machine in it, and I didn't realize that I was learning music at that time. And then later, after I went to Japan, I came back, and some friends wanted me to be in their band. I don't know. I was like, okay. I didn't know anything about anything. And these guys, they had each guy had old synthesizer setup. So one guy had like an ARP 2600 and a bunch of Korg stuff. One guy had the first Pro 1 and the first Prophet 5 that ever came out. He spent so much money on it. And another guy had old Oberheim. And so right away I was learning from these guys about synthesizers. And then eventually, some years later, I realized I could make an idea with my experience. So our band was using drum machines and Simmons drums and many electronic devices very early in the beginning of the 80s. But the music style wasn't right. So one night I was bored and decided I wanted to make some new music, and I met a friend, and he just by chance I said, "You want to sing on this?" And so he wrote some lyrics, and that is how Skinny Puppy became born in 1983. And the the history was that we got some free studio time and started to use it and created our first album. This album sold very well, very quickly, and we became signed to a record contract. So I was surprised. I was like, wow. Very quickly, everything was happening, and I thought maybe we could make this music for a year or two or three, but now many years later, 32 years later, and I don't even know how many albums we've made, but it's been I was happy we could find success. I started on drums, but my first synthesizer was a multi-moog, which is a two oscillator monosynth, and I got it for like $200, and then I was like, wow, I need to get another. And my second synth, of course, was the Pro One, sequential circuits, and Skinny Puppy, probably every song we ever made is using a Pro One. First modular synth, well. Of course, I had a System 100M by Roland. I have a ARP 2600, VCS3. I have a ARP 2500. I have like the Korg style synthesizers, but I didn't actually have a modular synthesizer until I bought a Surge modular in about 1993, and I used that for the Skinny Puppy album, The Process. And then after that, when I met Scott from Harvestman sometime, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, he gave me my first Eurorack module, and then I started slowly building my modular afterwards, and then I became a designer and a manufacturer with our own line, Subcon, and yeah, still going now.
Cool.
So I acquired a few modules of Plan B, and I really liked the oscillator, the Model 15. I bought a second one and it was broken. So my friend said, oh, I know Peter, let's go and see if he can fix it. So I went over and spoke to him, and he said, oh, I can fix this for you. And I said, why don't you release more of these? They seem difficult, and he's had some problems about this company. So I thought, oh, I can help you to make some oscillators and invest with him and make a new version of the Model 15 and the Model 37. So we did that, and we made a new version, and we repaired all the damage. Peter had some problems with the company Plan B at first, but we made sure everybody got paid the money they were owed, and put Plan B back to a good place. So after that, I started working with a designer named Phil Gallo, who also worked with Plan B and other companies, and we decided to make a new oscillator called the Vampire, which is a kind of a dual oscillator, or a oscillator LFO pair with a unique morph circuit, which allows for audio input and all sorts of windowing possibilities. So that sold very well, and now we're making more modules to go for a full system. So we're working on a triple filter right now, which is our next module, and we're also working with a triple envelope generator as well as a triple delay. Seems everything's a three-way. So and that is all coming within the next year, so look out for that. It's exciting. Many people are getting into modular synthesis now. There's many new modules coming out. We've got the possibility now of making, building your own dream modular synth very easily. It's not so high priced like it was with collectors, or you didn't have to find some old system and get it repaired or whatever. So with the new designers these days, they're all thinking new style of thinking and building modules, which are very exciting. So I think it's just started. I think in Canada we were familiar with many British bands, and for us we were familiar with at that time bands like Throbbing Gristle or Cabaret Voltaire or early Severed Heads or so on, and right away we found similar thinking. We wanted to think that way, but our idea was we wanted to make something with the drums, the production of the drums to be more heightened. Most early electronic experimental or / industrial music of the early 80s was using like small drum machines, very minimal rhythms. So our idea was to get into heavy drum productions, drum sounds, and drum ideas that we felt hadn't been done yet, and to use the sort of idea of experimental music and industrial, which hadn't been created yet, into our own music. So I think that's where we were successful, is because you could hear experimental music in the dance club, and it became very popular in Canada in dance clubs first with Skinny Puppy, and then they saw the show and became very popular because the show was crazy, and really in Canada there was only one thing to do, and that was to make your own music yourself. There wasn't really anything else happening at that time like that. Especially, in the early 80s especially. With Skinny Puppy, we've been around for so long that there's a certain formula, and it kind of has a structure like regular music, it kind of has a framework. But with the other projects I do, I can explore more territories and more spaces. So with Download, my partner Phil Western, I think is a really great artist, and so when we work together, I'm always excited to see what will happen. Of course, I work with dub artists and making dub albums, and also many solo albums. Each time, I just want to see what the sound will be. I give no rules to myself, and allow the synthesizers more or less to have some freedom. Sometimes I think when you have a synthesizer and you're in a room and you make a patch, sometimes the life becomes its own. You can help direction the course of where it's going, and help it to become something instead of being completely controlled by me. I think it's a collaboration between a human and a machine, and the end result is something that you can't guess ahead of time. And to me, that's what keeps it interesting for many years, is just the question, what will this happen? What will happen now? That's my philosophy. I just always had a keen interest in, I guess, synthesizers, from the look, from the way it makes you feel. Like, as I was saying, I believe we're helping some sort of external. I've always thought like the air has some sort of kinetics and energy in it that can help a synthesizer, and in some ways I think that is what I like about electronic music. A guitar is a guitar, but if you play it with a stone or something, it sounds different. It's the same with synthesizers. It's if you let synthesizers control you, I don't know, but it's basically the experimentation of it all has always been of interest to me, and still 30-something years later, I find still learning each day. I think I work mostly in analog now. I'll stick to that. I've had an idea about other things, but never made a design or a thought on that level yet. But I like the whole idea of iPad and everything. For me, it's all exciting. I use everything.